What makes a person truly powerful? Is it their words, their threats, their ability to command a room? Or is it something deeper, something unseen yet undeniable? Imagine standing before a predator in the wild. It doesn't snarl, it doesn't lunge, it simply watches. Still, silent, calculating. And somehow, that silence is more terrifying than any roar. Or picture a chess grandmaster, motionless, while his opponent sweats, mind racing, desperate to predict the next move. Yet the grandmaster gives away nothing. That is power. Real power isn't loud. It doesn't crave validation. It exists in the quiet confidence of those who have nothing to prove. The Stoics understood this. They knew true strength doesn't come from aggression, but from control. Control of oneself, of one's emotions, of the energy projected into the world. In this video, we'll explore 7 silent strategies from Stoic philosophy that will make your enemies think twice before crossing you. Master these, and you won't need to speak to command respect. Your presence alone will be enough. Let's begin. 1. Master your emotions. The greatest power you can wield is not over others, but over yourself. When enemies try to provoke you, when they mock, insult, or attempt to rattle your composure, the instinct is to react, to defend, to prove you're not weak. But here's the truth. The moment you react emotionally, you hand them control. Nothing unsettles an enemy more than someone they cannot provoke. When their attacks are met with calm indifference, it forces them to question themselves. They don't know how to deal with someone who refuses to be manipulated. Your emotional control becomes your weapon. Your composure becomes their greatest frustration. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength." Strength isn't found in shouting, aggression, or revenge. It lies in remaining steady in the midst of chaos, in rising above provocation, in refusing to let others dictate your emotions. I once knew a man, let's call him Victor. He worked with someone who constantly tried to undermine him. Sarcastic remarks, public challenges, little jabs meant to spark a reaction. At first, Victor fell for it, arguing, defending himself, showing his frustration. And every time, his enemy gained the upper hand. Then, Victor shifted. The next time insults came, he stayed silent. No reaction, no acknowledgement, nothing. And suddenly, the balance changed. His enemy grew frustrated, powerless, and eventually stopped trying. So how do you master your emotions? First, recognize your triggers. Know what unsettles you so you can prepare. Second, practice discipline. Pause before reacting. Breathe. Third, understand that control is not weakness. It is the highest form of strength. When you remain calm, you remain untouchable. And in a world full of chaos, your composure will make you unstoppable. 2. Maintain an unshakable presence. True confidence doesn't shout. It doesn't beg for attention or chase approval. It is a quiet force, one that commands respect the moment it enters the room. An unshakable presence is built on assurance, not arrogance. When you know who you are and what you stand for, you don't feel the need to prove anything. Your posture, your movements, your energy, they radiate strength and control. Confidence without arrogance is intimidating. When you move with certainty, when you take up space unapologetically, people notice. Not because you demand respect, but because you don't need to ask for it. The Stoics understood this. Lao Tzu once said, "Silence is a source of great strength." It's not always what you say or do that holds power, but the quiet certainty you project. Silence isn't weakness, it's control. The one who can enter a room and own it without saying a word is the one others instinctively respect. I once knew a man, let's call him Marcus. He was never the loudest in the room, never chasing attention, yet people respected him instantly. His posture was upright, his movements deliberate, his energy unwavering. When Marcus joined a conversation, people naturally quieted. Not because he demanded it, but because his presence commanded it. So how do you build presence? First, stand tall, shoulders back, head high, never shrinking. Second, move with intention. Every action should carry purpose. Third, embrace silence. Those who are truly powerful don't announce themselves. They simply are. At the end of the day, real power is felt, not spoken. Walk into a room with quiet confidence, own your space, and watch how respect follows without a word. 3. Let your actions speak. The truly powerful do not waste time announcing their greatness. They don't explain. They don't boast. They act. In a world drowning in empty talk and hollow promises, those who move in silence earn the deepest respect. Everyone talks about ambitions, dreams, future successes, but words are cheap. True strength is not in what you say, but in what you do. Your discipline, your resilience, your ability to follow through, these define you. A person who delivers consistently doesn't need validation. Their results speak louder than any claim. When you focus on action, you no longer have to explain yourself. People see it. They witness your discipline. They feel your determination. And the best part, enemies can argue with words, but they cannot argue with results. The Stoics knew this. They believed virtue, discipline, and resilience are not things to discuss, but to live. Epictetus once said, "Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it." I once knew a man, Adrian. He constantly spoke about his ambitions, big plans, big dreams. At first, people listened, but months passed with no action. Soon, people dismissed him. Words, nothing more. Then Adrian changed. He stopped talking. He worked silently, day after day. No announcements, no boasting, just results. Slowly, people noticed. His success was no longer a theory. It was undeniable. And the same people who once ignored him now respected him. So how do you let actions speak? First, be consistent. Small efforts compound into greatness. Second, pursue excellence. Don't settle. Sharpen your craft. Third, build resilience. When challenges come, keep moving. At the end of the day, what you do matters more than what you say. Your enemies may twist your words, but they cannot deny your results. Stop talking, act. Let your actions speak so loudly that words are unnecessary. If you found this valuable, hit like and subscribe for more powerful insights. 4. Never overreact to insults. Nothing exposes weakness faster than an emotional reaction to an insult. When someone attacks with words, the instinct is to defend, argue, retaliate, to prove them wrong. But here's the truth. The moment you react, you hand them power. Anger, frustration, defensiveness. These reveal your vulnerabilities. Your enemies learn exactly which buttons to press, which words can shake you, which insults can throw you off balance. They don't control you, you give them control. The way out? Indifference. Indifference is the ultimate power move. When you refuse to react, when you remain unshaken, you take back control. Your lack of response forces the other person to question themselves. Why isn't he reacting? Why isn't she offended? Why won't they play along? And in that moment of doubt, you've already won. The Stoics mastered this. Epictetus taught that our emotions should never be dictated by the actions of others. Insults only carry power if we give them meaning. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. If an insult is thrown and you remain unmoved, it dies the moment it's spoken. But if you react, you breathe life into it. I once knew a woman, Celeste. A colleague constantly tried to undermine her. Sarcasm in meetings, gossip behind her back, subtle attempts to belittle. At first, Celeste defended herself. She argued, explained, proved her worth. But the more she reacted, the worse it got. Then she changed. The next time her colleague tried to provoke her, she did nothing. Calm, unaffected, indifferent. She didn't defend herself. She didn't acknowledge the insult. She simply carried on as if nothing had happened. And that was when everything shifted. The insults lost their weight. Her colleague grew frustrated, confused, because they weren't getting the reaction they wanted. Over time, the attack stopped altogether. Celeste had changed the power dynamic, not by fighting back, but by refusing to give away control of her emotions. So how do you master this skill? First, develop self-awareness. When an insult comes, pause, breathe, and recognize you hold the power to decide how you respond. Second, stay emotionally controlled. The moment you allow someone to trigger you, you've already lost. And finally, embrace indifference. Not every insult deserves a response. In fact, silence is often more powerful than words. At the end of the day, the strongest person is the one who cannot be provoked. When you refuse to react, you strip your enemies of their influence. Let them insult. Let them mock. It doesn't matter. Their words only carry meaning if you give it to them. Stay calm, stay unmoved, and watch how quickly they lose their grip on you. 5. Control what they know about you. Power is not just in what you do, it's in what you allow others to know. In a world where people are constantly watching, analyzing, and trying to figure you out, the more predictable you are, the easier it is to be manipulated. Your weaknesses, your ambitions, your insecurities, if you make them obvious, you give others the tools to control you. They know what triggers you. They know what you want. And with that knowledge, they can push you off balance or even use your desires against you. The key to staying untouchable is controlling what others know about you. This doesn't mean lying or deceiving. It means choosing carefully what you reveal and to whom. When you keep certain things to yourself, your struggles, your next moves, even your emotions, you become unpredictable, and the unpredictable cannot be controlled. This is timeless wisdom. Sun Tzu once wrote, "Appear weak when you are strong, and strong when you are weak." The true strategist knows power lies in perception. If you are too open, too transparent, people will know exactly how to counter you. But if you hold back and reveal only what's necessary, you remain an enigma, impossible to predict, impossible to manipulate. I once knew a man, let's call him Damien. He was always open about his life. He shared his struggles, frustrations, even his long-term ambitions with his co-workers. He thought transparency would earn him trust. But over time, it made him vulnerable. If he admitted feeling overwhelmed, he suddenly faced more pressure. If he confided in a challenge, soon his ability was questioned. His own words became weapons against him. So Damien made a change. He stopped oversharing. He spoke less about struggles, kept ambitions private, and became selective about trust. And something remarkable happened. People respected him more. They couldn't predict his every move. They couldn't use his words against him. He regained control, not by fighting harder, but by becoming unreadable. So how do you protect this control? First, be mindful of what you share. Not everyone deserves access to your fears, plans, or inner world. Second, embrace mystery. The less predictable you are, the harder you are to influence. And third, use your strength strategically. Reveal power only when it serves you. Show vulnerability only when it's intentional. Control perception, and you control the game. At the end of the day, the less others know about you, the more power you hold. Guard your emotions, your plans, and your struggles. Make it difficult for others to define you, and you'll be impossible to manipulate. If you've made it this far, drop a comment. Stay unpredictable. And give the video a like. Your support means the world and keeps this channel growing. 6. Make power moves in silence. The loudest people are rarely the most powerful. Those who constantly announce their plans, their ambitions, their next big step, give away their greatest advantage, the element of surprise. There is something undeniably powerful about moving in silence, about working in the shadows while the world has no idea what you're building. In today's world, everyone wants to share their goals, strategies, and next moves. But restraint, that's rare, and that's strength. The more you reveal, the more you expose yourself to interference, doubt, and even sabotage. Some will discourage you. Others will offer opinions you never asked for. A few may even try to block you. But when you keep your ambitions private, you eliminate obstacles before they appear. No one can stop what they don't see coming. Here's the truth. Announcing your next move invites resistance. But when people don't know your plan, they can't predict your actions, block your progress, or undermine your vision, you become a force beyond their control. Your silence becomes your shield, and your results become the only proof that matters. The Stoics taught this too. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." The wise do not waste time justifying their path. They act, they build, they execute. And when success arrives, they don't need to explain. Their results speak louder than any words. I once knew a woman, Naomi. She had a habit of sharing every goal with friends and colleagues. At first it felt empowering, but over time she noticed something. The more she shared, the harder things became. People questioned her choices, offered unsolicited opinions, and even doubted her. Worst of all, she began doubting herself. The noise of others drowned out her own voice. So Naomi changed. She stopped announcing her plans. Instead of talking about what she was going to do, she simply did it, quietly, consistently. And when the results showed, they were undeniable. No one could argue. Her success spoke for itself. So how do you make power moves in silence? First, keep your plans to yourself. Not everyone deserves to know your next step. Let your success be the surprise. Second, stay focused. Talking about goals does nothing. Execution is what matters. And finally, let results be your proof. People will see your discipline, your resilience, and your achievements, all without you needing to say a word. At the end of the day, real power is not in what you say, it's in what you do. Keep your ambitions private. 7. Be unapologetically yourself. There is nothing more powerful than a person who refuses to apologize for who they are. In a world where most people chase approval, adjust their personalities to fit in, and constantly worry about how they're perceived. Standing firm in your true identity becomes an act of defiance. And defiance, when rooted in authenticity, commands both fear and respect. Most people are desperate to be liked. They hide their opinions, downplay their strengths, and dilute their uniqueness just to avoid standing out. But here's the truth. The moment you stop trying to fit in, you become untouchable. When you let go of the need for external validation, you shift the power dynamic. You no longer need to impress anyone, which makes you immune to their judgment. And nothing unsettles others more than someone who doesn't seek their approval. The Stoics emphasized this way of living. They believed true freedom comes not from being accepted, but from being independent of the opinions of others. Epictetus taught that chasing approval is a trap that leads only to misery. But when you stop, you gain something far more valuable: self-respect. And when you respect yourself, the world follows. I once knew a man, let's call him Elias. He spent years bending himself to fit into different social circles. He laughed at jokes he didn't find funny, downplayed his accomplishments so others wouldn't feel threatened, and constantly adjusted his personality to match those around him. Over time, he felt drained, disconnected, and lost. He had spent so long trying to fit in that he no longer knew who he was. Then Elias made a decision. He stopped pretending. He spoke his mind openly, stood firm in his values, and stopped caring whether others agreed. And something remarkable happened. People began to respect him more. They admired his confidence, his authenticity, and his refusal to conform. Best of all, Elias no longer needed to wear a mask. The people who truly valued him remained. Those who couldn't handle his authenticity faded away. Either way, he won. So how do you become unapologetically yourself? First, stop seeking validation. You don't need approval to be who you are. The moment you stop chasing acceptance, you gain true power. Second, embrace your uniqueness. The very things that set you apart are your greatest strengths. Don't hide them. Let them shine. And third, live by your own standards. Stop following rules designed to keep you small. Define your own path and let your life reflect your true self. At the end of the day, those who live authentically cannot be controlled. The world fears what it cannot manipulate. So be unapologetically yourself. Stand firm in your identity. And watch as people either respect you or fade away. Either way, you win. Because real power comes from within. When you stop seeking approval, when you refuse to shrink yourself to fit into others' expectations, you become untouchable. Not because you're trying to impress, but because you've learned to stand fully in your own strength. Own who you are, and the world will have no choice but to respect you. If this message resonated, drop a comment. Power in silence, and share your thoughts. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights on mastering yourself and commanding respect effortlessly. And always remember, the strongest person is the one who needs no validation. Stay disciplined, stay unshaken, and I'll see you in the next video.